My name is Clara Elise Morrison, and I am 38 years old. I built Morrison Marketing from a secondhand laptop on a thrift store desk in a rented studio that smelled like old printer ink and rain-warped carpet. It's a Thursday night, 9:00 p.m., Portland neon humming outside my office windows when my phone vibrates. I'm skimming our quarterly numbers, sipping burnt coffee that's gone cold enough to taste like tin. The notification floats across my screen like a soap bubble that refuses to pop. Evan Brooks, my boyfriend, our agency's creative director by title and mercy, has posted, "Finally leaving my controlling girlfriend for my soulmate, choosing love over convenience." She never saw me, but Luna does. New beginnings. Know your worth. Within seconds, hearts, confetti gifts, and soft focus affirmations pour in. His yoga retreat friends applaud. His sister writes, "Proud of you for breaking free." Someone adds a string of phoenix emojis. My phone keeps buzzing until the desk rattles. I read it twice, then a third time. It lands in my stomach like a smooth stone dropped into a deep lake. No splash, just a widening silence. I set the phone down. My reflection peers back from the black laptop screen. Clean bun, gray sweater, eyeliner smudged from a long day. The woman people mistake for cold because they've never watched her carry a company on tired shoulders. He's leaving. For Luna Gray, the consultant he slid into the firm 6 months ago on a trial contract that somehow turned permanent in his head. In my head, she was always a guest chair at our conference table. Pretty pitch decks, softer promises, invoices that arrived faster than deliverables. I pick up the phone. I don't comment. I don't rage. I tap the only option that feels both truthful and surgical. I like the post. 30 seconds later, my screen lights up with a private message. "Evan, did you seriously just like my post about leaving you?" I watch the three dots blink, disappear, blink again, like a heartbeat trying to decide if it still wants to be alive. Then I type, "Me. Yeah, good for you. When are you moving out?" There is a pause on his end long enough for me to hear the building's old air vents sigh. I imagine him in Luna's apartment, string lights, eucalyptus candles, an aggressively framed mantra about abundance, staring at his phone, waiting for the fight he thinks I owe him. I give him none. No begging, no bargaining. Betrayal doesn't deserve an audience, just a plan. The plan is simple. It has always been simple. I close his chat, open my admin dashboard, and start pulling levers. 2 clicks. Cancel company credit cards in his name. 3 passwords reset. Accounting, project management, client portal. 1 security email to our building manager. Lock change, scheduled for 7:00 a.m. He replies within minutes. "Of course, Ms. Morrison. I'll meet you in the lobby." I draft a short message to our clients. Minor internal restructuring. No interruptions expected. I leave out the part where my boyfriend is staging a romantic coup on Instagram. I back up the servers, tidy folders with names like Q3 forecast and client/retainer/rollovers. My old religion, order as salvation. My phone trembles again. Another message. "Evan, that's it? After everything we built together, you're just cold?" I stare at the word together. I remember him arriving 2 years after I signed my first lease, when my client list was handwritten on an index card and I thought companionship might soften the sharp edges of ambition. I gave him a title that meant something to him, creative director, and a salary that meant something to everyone else. It made him stand straighter at parties. It made him casual with small luxuries, oat milk lattes, limited edition sneakers, contractors who billed triple for vibes. I type, "Me, you made your choice. I respect it." He starts typing, then stops. 5 minutes pass, like a knife being dragged through soft cake. Slow, messy, inevitable. Finally, another message lands. "Evan, I'll be getting my stuff tomorrow. Also, I deserve half the business. BW. BW. Best wishes." The audacity of the Hallmark sign-off makes me laugh out loud. The sound echoes too loudly in the empty office, and I swallow it back. What he doesn't understand, what he never bothered to ask, is the origin story engraved in the steel of this company. Morrison Marketing was formed 5 years before I met him, forged in late nights and rejected pitches and the stubborn refusal to fold when the one client that could have saved us chose a cheaper agency. I didn't inherit this. I bled for it. I move through the checklist like choreography I practiced for months without knowing why. I write myself a note. Don't forget to move his access from owner to guest on the shared drive, then delete it because I've already done it. A coolness creeps into my limbs, the kind I get before a big presentation. The stillness of a hunter that some people mistake for frost. I stand, cross the office, and look out at the city. A bus exhales at the corner. A couple argues under an awning, their gestures tiny puppets. My reflection hovers on the glass. Woman and skyline, both hard won. The comments on his post surge into nastier territory. Someone writes, "Controlling women hate when men find soulmates." Another, "She stole his ideas." I could correct the record. I could upload the invoices he signed, the performance reviews he ignored, the client emails that begin with "Clara, quick note," and end with "Thanks for saving the campaign again." I don't. I have nothing to prove to people who think love is a brand you can launch if you pick the right filter. Instead, I text the building manager again. "Thanks for the quick lock change. Put Evan Brooks on the do not admit list unless escorted by security." He sends a thumbs up. On my desk, my grandmother's china photo, a small oval frame with a woman in a tea-length dress holding a tray of blue-white plates, stares up at me. When I was a kid, I would trace the pattern with my fingertip and promise her I'd one day serve clients who paid on time. Promises kept are a kind of armor. I slide the frame into a drawer and lock it. Another text pings from a friend across the hall. "Jerome from the design firm. You okay? Saw Evan's TED Talk on Soulmates." "Me, I'm fine. Locks change at 7. If he loiters, call security." Jerome, copy. Also, Luna pitched me last week with a deck that spelled restaurant with an "ent" at the end. Thought you'd enjoy that. I do. Not enough to smile, but enough to file the memory like a smooth stone in my pocket. One day it might skip nicely across a conversation. I compose one last email to HR's outsourced firm, terminating Evan's employment for cause. Breached confidentiality, misrepresentation, hostile behavior in public damaging to client relations. The legal phrases lay like bricks. I sign my name at the bottom and feel the weight of the wall rise. My phone vibrates again, this time a voicemail transcribed into confused poetry. "So this is how you'll be? After all I gave? You cut me off. This is financial abuse. Luna says it's illegal. You can't shut down my income stream. Without me, you have no..." It trails off into muffled arguing and the sound of a lighter flicking. "Your income stream, I think," rolling the phrase in my mouth like a foreign candy. Interesting perspective from someone who hasn't closed a client in 3 years and who thinks ideation equals execution. I draft and then actually send a response that is both meticulous and merciless, a bullet point invoice of what the company has provided him: salary, benefits, travel, the conference in Austin where he took 4 selfies in one meeting with a kombucha vendor, versus what he has returned. I don't press post. I press send to his email, CC'd to my lawyer. A small shiver ghosts up my spine. Not fear. Foreshadow. The sense that something about Luna's timing is less random than it looks, that Evan is less the architect of this plot than the scaffolding. I scroll his post again. The grammar is his, the hashtags are hers. When you've built campaigns, you can smell the difference between a voice and a strategy. On my way out, I kneel and tape a small label to the top of a stack of neatly packed boxes in the lobby. Evan. Personal items. Inside, his denim jacket, his succulent that drooped whenever he forgot the office existed, a framed print of an ocean at sunset with the words, "Take the leap," in hand-lettered script. I set the boxes where security will see them first thing in the morning. I switch off the lights. The office exhales into darkness. For a moment, my chest tightens at the thought of tomorrow, his performance, Luna's smirk, the neighbors peeking through glass. I allow the sensation to crest and break. Then I breathe. In the elevator, the fluorescent lights buzz. My phone hums again. A DM request from a stranger. I let it sit. Let the darkness hold its breath a little longer. Outside, the night smells like wet concrete and distant cinnamon. I put my keys between my fingers as I walk to the car, a habit from another life, before I learned that the sharpest weapon is documentation. Streetlights slide over the hood like silver fish. When I pull into my driveway, I don't turn on the porch light. I sit in the quiet car with my hands on the wheel and watch my reflection in the rearview mirror. Not cold, not unfeeling. Just a woman who understands that love without respect is a bill that always comes due. And tonight, I finally stopped auto-paying it. Inside, I stack the day's decisions like dishes drying on a rack. Tomorrow will be louder, a U-Haul rattling up, a man trying to look taller than the door, a consultant with lips pursed around the word genius. Security will be there, so will I. I set my phone face down on the nightstand. The screen flashes, then dies into a mute, black square. Somewhere in the city, Evan refreshes his notifications, waiting for the storm to bend toward him. Somewhere else, Luna arranges a quote card about liberation and schedules it for sunrise. I pull the duvet up, close my eyes, and speak the only prayer I know anymore. Brief, practical, absolute. Change the locks. Keep the receipts. Let them perform to a closed curtain. By morning, Evan will learn a truth I had to teach myself. Soulmates don't pay invoices. Morning arrived sharp and cold, the kind that makes Portland's skyline look rinsed clean. I woke to 52 unread texts, a mix of indignation and desperation, all from Evan. The first 20 were variations of, "Why did my card decline?" The rest deteriorated into voice-to-text poetry about financial abuse, betrayal, and something about masculine suppression. I scrolled while making coffee, letting his outrage fill the kitchen like static. Each message was a window into his panic. "You can't do this! I built that brand with you!" "Luna says this is illegal. We're talking to a lawyer. I'm taking half. You'll regret treating me like an employee." That last one made me pause. Employee. The word he always avoided. I sipped my coffee. He wasn't wrong. He was an employee. I just never corrected him when he played co-founder in front of clients. Sometimes love looks like letting someone believe a prettier version of the truth, but generosity turns sour when entitlement sets in. By 9 a.m., my inbox pinged with an email from building management. Locks changed. Access cards updated. Evan Brooks and Luna Gray now officially listed as restricted visitors. I replied with a polite thank you and a reminder that security should expect possible commotion. I didn't have to wait long. At 10:12, my phone buzzed again. "He's here." Jerome's text came with a photo. Evan in the lobby, hair messy, Luna beside him in oversized sunglasses, a U-Haul idling at the curb. They looked like an indie couple on the worst moving day of their lives. I watched the scene unfold from my office's security monitor feed. Evan pounded on the glass doors. Luna filmed it on her phone. "You can't do this, Clara," he shouted. "This is my company, too." His voice echoed through the lobby mic. I pressed the intercom button, calm as marble. "According to your post, Evan, not for long." Luna turned toward the camera, lips curling into a smirk. "You think you can erase him? The world knows who did the real work here." "The world," I replied, "can check the contracts." Security appeared moments later, a tall guard named Daniel, who'd worked here since the early days. He spoke through the door, firm but polite. "Sir, ma'am, your names aren't on the lease. You'll need to leave." "I am Ms. Morrison's partner," Evan snapped. "This is my business." Daniel looked at the clipboard. "Not according to the paperwork." Luna leaned in, voice dripping with mock sympathy. "He gave everything to this company. You took advantage of his creativity." "His creativity?" I muttered under my breath. "You mean the campaign he forgot to spell check?" I pressed the intercom again. "Your personal items are in the lobby boxes. Everything else belongs to Morrison Marketing. Please collect them and leave." Evan's face flushed. "I deserve half." "You deserve closure," I said softly. "This isn't it." Luna grabbed one of the boxes and hurled it at the glass. Papers fluttered across the lobby like startled birds. I didn't flinch. Daniel called for backup. Within minutes, they were escorted out, Luna shouting about patriarchy and creative oppression while Evan sulked beside her. By lunchtime, my staff had already heard the gossip. I gathered them in the conference room. "Everything's fine," I told them. "We're restructuring. Business as usual." They nodded, quietly loyal. Loyalty, I realized, is best measured when there's blood in the water. That evening, a new email arrived from Evan's personal address. Subject line, "Official invoice for services rendered." I opened it, half curious, half amused. Creative direction. 3 years. $450,000. Brand development. $75,000. Emotional labor. $100,000. Lost future earnings. $500,000. Total, $1,128,000. The bold font felt like a child's tantrum written in corporate language. So I wrote back, office rent, 3 years, unpaid, $0, courtesy of me. Salary paid during said period, $165,000. Personal credit card charges, $47,832. Consulting fees to Luna Gray, $36,000. Balance due to Morrison Marketing, $248,832. Payment requested via check. Then I hit send. He blocked me within an hour. I didn't expect to hear from him again, but I underestimated his flair for public spectacle. The next day, a notification buzzed. Luna had posted a long caption beneath a photo of her holding Evan's hand, both of them posing in front of a U-Haul. When the system tries to silence creatives, love still wins. We're starting our own agency, Brooks and Gray Creative. The real visionaries. No cages, no toxicity. Hat love over control, hat new beginnings. The comments section was a shrine to delusion. Her followers showered them with praise, while a few of our shared clients quietly watched. At 3:00 p.m., my phone rang. It was Jonas, one of our biggest accounts. "Clara," he said cautiously, "I just got a call from Evan. He says he's starting a new firm and wants us to come with him." I exhaled slowly. "Did he mention that he no longer works here?" Jonas chuckled. "He did. Said he was the creative brain behind everything. But to be honest, we always knew you were the one handling strategy. I just wanted to confirm before I blocked his number." "Appreciate the courtesy," I said, "and the loyalty." "Loyalty?" He laughed. "No, Clara. Competence." After we hung up, I leaned back in my chair and let the words sink in. For the first time in days, I smiled. Small, private, dangerous. By day 3, Evan had escalated from delusion to desperation. My business banker called. "Ms. Morrison, a man claiming to be your husband tried to access your business account." We declined, of course. He said it was an emergency. "Thank you for the heads up," I said. "Oh, and he also tried to apply for a business loan using your company's tax ID. We flagged it as fraud." "Good instinct," I replied. "Keep the flag raised." That night, my lawyer called. "You're going to love this," he said, chuckling. "He's filed for spousal support, claiming you forced him to quit a lucrative career." "Which career?" "That's the question. His resume lists creative visionary and life consultant. I checked. No income on record for 3 years. But don't worry, he has no legal claim to the company. It's a premarital asset." "Good," I said. "Let him explain emotional labor to a judge." My lawyer laughed so hard he had to put me on hold. By day 4, even Luna's Instagram energy started to dim. Gone were the polished couple photos. Now it was grainy stories of her holding gas station coffee and captioning them with, "Love doesn't need luxury." Sure it doesn't. Love also doesn't need an accountant. Around that time, I started getting calls from vendors, printers, photographers, social media contractors. Apparently, Luna had been promising them future work once she took over Morrison Marketing. A printer said she ordered 5,000 business cards. Luna Gray, CEO, Morrison Marketing. Wants to pick them up tomorrow. "Send her the bill," I said. "She's not associated with this company." "She said you'd pay." "Did she give you a purchase order, written authorization, or company card?" "No." "Then that's between you and her." Click. By the end of the week, 3 other vendors had similar stories. I began forwarding every email to my lawyer. He labeled the folder Evan and Luna Circus. That Friday, as rain glazed the windows of my office, I realized something. I wasn't angry anymore, not really. Watching their chaos unfold was almost cleansing. They were performing their downfall in public, and I had front row seats with popcorn and legal documentation. When Jerome dropped by after work, holding 2 coffees, he grinned. "Did you see Luna's latest post?" "No," I said. "I've been busy running a company." He chuckled. "She's offering creative healing consultations." Translation, no one's hiring them. We clinked coffee cups like champagne glasses. The building lights hummed above us, warm and steady. As Jerome left, I glanced at the office door where the new metal lock gleamed silver under the fluorescent light. Strong, precise, impossible to force. For the first time since the post, I felt the quiet satisfaction of a boundary that held. The storm was far from over, but from here on out, I'd be the one controlling the weather. The storm didn't explode all at once. It unraveled, like silk snagging on a nail, one thread at a time. 2 weeks after Evan's Freedom Post, his empire of delusion began to rot in public view. The cracks showed first on Luna's Instagram. The over-filtered photos of lattes and affirmations were replaced by blurry selfies captioned with things like, "Every visionary faces resistance," and "Energy vampires hate boundaries." Translation: the credit cards stopped working. Meanwhile, I was busy actually working. Morrison Marketing was busier than ever. 3 new clients signed within 10 days. My staff could finally breathe without second-guessing every whimsical creative pivot Evan had insisted on. Then one morning, Jerome burst into my office, laughing so hard he had to lean on the doorframe. "You'll appreciate this," he said, wiping a tear. "Evan and Luna just came into my firm asking for jobs." I looked up from my screen. "You're kidding." I wish I was. She introduced herself as a top-tier creative director. He said he's a brand strategist/life coach. I raised an eyebrow. "Did they show portfolios?" She showed me 5 Instagram posts and a flyer for a vegan food truck. He showed me a certificate from some online life mastery course he took last week. I couldn't help it. I laughed. "What did you say?" "I told them I'd call if something came up. I won't." As he left, I turned my chair toward the window. Outside, rain streaked the glass like watercolor. I thought of the phrase Evan used to repeat in meetings: "Fake it till you make it." I guess he finally found out what happens when the faking ends. By the end of that week, my office phone rang constantly with damage control. A printer wanted payment for a bulk business card order Luna had placed, 5,000 cards, reading Luna Gray, CEO, Morrison Marketing. I sighed. "Send the bill to her new agency. I'll forward your email to my lawyer." Another vendor reported that Luna promised them future work once she takes over. It was almost impressive, the level of fantasy they operated on. But fantasy doesn't pay invoices. That Friday evening, my lawyer called again. Tone half amused, half exasperated. "Clara, they've filed for spousal support." I nearly dropped my pen. "They what?" "She claims you forced Evan to abandon a lucrative career to work for free under you." I let out a short, humorless laugh. "Which career exactly?" He chuckled. "Her filing doesn't specify. But since your company was established years before your relationship and there's zero record of his prior income, they don't have a case. You might have to pay temporary support. 2 months maybe, but nothing major. Oh, and since his affair is publicly documented, the judge won't look kindly on it." "Good," I said. "Let them tell the court about their soulmate." "Already printing popcorn," he replied. That weekend, the real entertainment arrived in my inbox. A message from someone named Fiona Banks, subject line, "Luna Gray, warning." "Hi, Clara. Not sure if this is appropriate, but is your ex's new girlfriend named Luna Gray? Because if so, good luck. He owes me $3,000, told me it was for a coaching investment. He spent it on concert tickets and vape cartridges. He only dates women with money. When I stopped paying his bills, he vanished within a week." Attached were screenshots, texts, Venmo receipts, and a photo of Luna's smiling face beside Evan's caption, "Partners in Purpose." I stared at the screen for a long time, then forwarded everything to my lawyer. "Just in case," I wrote. Monday morning, another email came. Different sender, same story. Another ex of Luna's. Another unpaid debt. Patterns repeating like bad design templates. By Tuesday, the performance reached its next act. I arrived at the office to find Evan and Luna standing outside with a police officer. The officer looked as though he'd already had too much of their drama. "Ma'am," he said carefully, "Mr. Brooks says you've locked him out of his property. He's requesting access to collect personal belongings." I nodded calmly. "Everything personal is boxed in the lobby. I haven't touched anything else." "She's lying," Luna screeched. "She's hiding cash in the office safe." "What safe?" I asked. "The filing cabinet labeled client contracts?" The officer exhaled through his nose. "Ma'am, please just collect your belongings." Evan's face was red, his voice brittle. "I made this company with you." "No," I said evenly. "You decorated it with slogans." They stomped inside, Luna scanning the walls like a predator in heels. She stopped at the 65-inch TV in the conference room. "That's ours." "Receipt says otherwise," I replied. She moved to the kitchen area. "Those appliances are mine. I cooked here." "They're mine too," I said. "Bought during my bachelor years. Oh, sorry, bachelorette." The officer pinched the bridge of his nose. Ma'am, please take your clothes and personal effects, nothing else. As they were leaving, Luna spotted the display cabinet where I kept my grandmother's china, a blue porcelain set older than any of us. I'll take these, she said, voice sweet with venom. I stepped forward. Those are family heirlooms. She tilted her head. You never even use them. And before I could speak, she flung the plate at the wall. It shattered, then another and another, until fragments glittered across the hardwood like confetti. The sound was so sharp it silenced even Evan. The officer grabbed Luna's wrist, twisting her gently but firmly. Ma'am, that's destruction of property. You're under arrest. She screamed, a wild sound that echoed down the hallway. Evan froze, useless, as she was led outside in handcuffs. Her sister, who'd been waiting in the car, jumped out, yelling that I was an abusive narcissist who drove Luna to this. The officer didn't even turn his head. When the car door slammed and the sirens faded, the only thing left was the smell of dust and the soft hum of my office lights. I stood there staring at the fragments of my grandmother's china. Jerome walked in quietly with a broom. You okay? I nodded once. Fine. We swept in silence. I didn't feel anger, not even sadness, just a cold, clean emptiness, the kind you feel after a storm passes and takes the air with it. By the next morning, Luna was out on bail, paid by her parents, not Evan. Within hours, she was back online. Her new post read, When women stand up to financial control, men weaponize the system. But I'm stronger now, rising from the ashes. I scrolled through the comments, half sympathetic strangers, half bots selling crypto. It didn't matter. The narrative was hers now, and it would eat itself alive. But the universe wasn't done humbling them yet. That same afternoon, I received a direct message from a stranger named Tamara. Hey, you don't know me, but I matched with a guy named Evan Brooks on Tinder last night. Said he's single, entrepreneur, looking for a queen who knows her worth. Pretty sure it's the same guy from Luna's page. Just thought you'd want to know. She attached a screenshot of his profile. Same face, same smug smile, same manifestation quote in his bio. I laughed, long and low, until tears pricked the corners of my eyes. It was all playing out exactly as it needed to. The soulmates had found their lesson, and I had found my peace. It started with a phone call I didn't expect, from Evan himself. His name flashed across my screen late one afternoon, weeks after Luna's arrest, just as I was reviewing a new client proposal. I stared at it for a full 10 seconds before I answered. Clara, he began, his voice low, syrupy, the same tone he used to reserve for apologies he didn't mean. We need to talk. I almost laughed. No, Evan, you need to talk. I don't. He sighed. Look, Luna's having a rough time. She's not doing well. Maybe you could help her out? You know, like a severance package or something? I leaned back in my chair. A severance package, I repeated, tasting the words like spoiled milk. For what? Sleeping with her boss while plotting a hostile takeover? Come on, Clara, he said quickly. You loved her once. Her? No, Evan, I loved you. Past tense. Let's not confuse the nouns. Silence. Then a weak attempt at guilt. She's been crying. She says she's got nowhere to go. I didn't even hide my smirk. This is about her or your rent being due. The pause told me everything. When he finally spoke again, his voice cracked like cheap glass. She said she was getting half your company. She said she had savings. She lied, I said flatly. You thought you were getting a sugar mama. Turns out you just picked a leech with a vision board. He didn't reply, just hung up. That night, Luna posted another essay-length caption online, this time tagging me, the company, and 3 feminist business pages. When men feel threatened by powerful women, they weaponize silence, but I refuse to be erased. Her photo, sitting in a cafe with a chipped mug and a scarf that still had the store tag visible. The caption had 3 grammatical errors. My lawyer texted me the post before I even saw it. On it, cease and desist drafted. Within an hour, it was gone. Days passed. My office settled into peace again. Clients thrived. My new creative director, a woman named Rena, actually knew what she was doing. For the first time in years, the campaigns felt sharp, cohesive, alive. Then Monday came, and with it, a new circus act. When I arrived at this building, the security guard looked up with an exhausted smile. Morning, Ms. Morrison. You'll want to see this. In the lobby, right by the elevator doors, sat Luna. A folding table, a hand-painted sign. Luna Gray Consulting, the real talent behind Morrison Marketing. She had flyers. She had business cards. She even had a half-empty Starbucks cup and the audacity of a queen without a kingdom. I didn't approach her. I just stood near the glass wall upstairs, watching. When one of my clients, a marketing director named Peter, walked in for our 10:12 a.m. meeting, Luna jumped up like a hawk spotting prey. "You know, I was the creative force behind your campaigns," she said, beaming. "Clara just took credit." Peter blinked, polite but confused. "Didn't you design that flyer with the typo, the one that said restaurant?" "That was the printer's fault," she snapped. He raised an eyebrow. "You spelled it." By the time she started shouting about patriarchal oppression in the creative industry, building security had already moved in. They escorted her out gently, her flyers scattering like fallen leaves. The entire scene took 5 minutes. I timed it. I returned to my office, quietly sipping my tea. Chaos, I realized, looks different when you're on the outside of it. That afternoon, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I didn't answer, but the voicemail transcribed itself on screen. "You think you won, Clara? You stole everything from me. Evan's gone. He took my money. You ruined my life." My first instinct was to delete it. Instead, I saved it. Evidence is oxygen. Hours later, my phone rang again. This time, Evan's name again. Against my better judgment, I picked up. "She's losing it," he said. "She's broke, Clara. She says you're behind it all." "I'm behind what, Evan? Her bad spelling? Her poor life choices?" He exhaled shakily. "She asked me to add her to my bank account. Said it was for our future. Now my balance is 0. "So she robbed you?" "You knew she would." "Yes." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Would you have believed me?" Silence stretched between us, long enough for me to hear the hum of my office heater. He whispered, "She said she loved me." "She says that to anyone with Wi-Fi and a checking account." A small broken laugh escaped him. Then a quiet, "I messed up." I let the silence hang a little longer before answering. "Yes, you did." He didn't ask for forgiveness. That, at least, showed a flicker of growth. 2 days later, Luna's final post appeared, a GoFundMe link titled, "Rebuilding After Financial Abuse." The description was a masterpiece of projection. She raised $45, all from her mother. By the weekend, she'd deleted her accounts. A week after that, I got a notification, a LinkedIn request from Luna Gray. Her profile headline read, "Experienced Creative Visionary, CEO of Morrison Marketing, 2019 to 2024. I took a screenshot and sent it to my lawyer. He replied with 5 laughing emojis. Then I reported the profile for false information and blocked her. Life didn't just go back to normal, it got better. Clients who'd hesitated before now committed to long-term contracts. The office felt lighter, more focused. Rena introduced a new mentorship program, and for the first time in years, I caught myself humming on my way to work. One Friday, Jerome dropped by with 2 beers. We clinked bottles and watched the sunset spill gold across the office windows. "You realize your story's become legend around here, right?" he said. "The one about Luna's 5-post portfolio and Evan's life coach certificate?" I laughed. "Let them talk. I'm done performing." He smiled. "You really are." When he left, I stood by the window and looked at the reflection of the city lights in the glass. My grandmother's china had been replaced. A new set, simple and white. Not heirlooms, not history, just something I could actually use. That felt right. As I shut off the office lights, I thought about the lessons I'd learned. That silence is more powerful than shouting. That dignity is the best revenge. That sometimes the person trying to destroy you is really just burning down their own illusion. To anyone listening, I'd say this. When someone shows you who they are, not with words, but with choices, believe them. And when they finally leave, don't chase them. Just change the locks. Oh, and Evan, if you're still checking my socials through fake accounts, I saw Luna's latest tag before she deleted it. Looks like she's moved on to another entrepreneur. Hope he has a good lawyer and better credit.